The BBC is dead. The BBC I once loved is dead. Light a candle and pay tribute and say morning with me. The BBC is dead. What's that? The BBC is not dead? It's still going? No. It's not going. No, it's dead. No, seriously. No, I'll tell. Here. Okay, seriously. It's dead. It's like, right. I'll show you. Okay. I guess exhibit number 1. So like I was like getting better. I thought like my procedure came up. I was like, hey, I'm getting better. And I was like, let me see what the BBC has online. Because, you know, while I was sick, I was like, only thing I could do was surf online. And I found the best reporting in the world. Because the BBC, what does it stand for? British Broadcasting. Broadcasting to the world. Did you know the BBC is the only news agency which is no more? Pay tribute and homage to what is no more. The only news agency that still has reporters stationed around the world. CNN doesn't have that. They fired all their staff that was around the world a long time ago. MSNBC doesn't have them anymore. No. All them ABC, they don't have reporters around the world anymore. No. It's only the BBC that still has reporters stationed around the world. The BBC, the best broadcasting news station in the world. But it is no more. It is no more. But while I was sick in bed for 8 years, all I did was watch it. I found it. I found BBC's Panorama, and I feasted on it. Oh, did I ever feast on it. I feasted on John Sweeney's reporting. Oh, and I feasted on these beautiful, beautiful pieces like Amazon, Behind the Click. Oh, Behind the Click. No one had done Behind the Click with Amazon before. No one showed that it was absolute pure slavery, and that it was absolutely terrifying. Who could actually shop from Amazon anymore after seeing Amazon Behind the Click? And who actually exposed Lance Armstrong and the fact that he was doping? Oh my goodness. Who actually exposed what was going on with doping? Oh, let me see. That would be the BBC when they actually did that amazing Panorama piece. And I'll link it down below. And then that was absolutely brilliant piece. Not just Scientology Me, but what was that amazing piece that they did? Oh, when it had to do with the Roma people and how they're taking their kids out and they're peeing in the middle of the street, how they're abusing their little kids in order to beg on the middle of the street. Oh my goodness. The reporting that they once used to do and no longer do. The BBC is dead. Let us pay homage. Proof, for those of you who don't know. Exhibit number 1. I go onto their site. I want to see the jobs that they have. And I see something a little bit disturbing. Oh, go onto their careers page. Oh, their careers page. And it says television. And they have this nice little quote right down here in the corner. You see that? You see that for television? Let's see here. Can you read that? It says, our culture is, what does it say? Is their television culture to bring you the best investigative, the best in broadcasting, the #1 news service in the world as it has done since the very beginning of broadcasting, the absolute #1 in broadcasting news service worldwide? No! Our culture is creative. Creative? Creative? Let us pay tribute, for the BBC is no more. For those of you who don't know, let me clue you in. Let me clue you in. For those of you who don't know why that's a red flag. Creative, if you didn't watch Mad Men, creative is an ad agency. Creative is what they call an ad campaign. So when the BBC, the British Broadcasting Agency, the #1 news agency in the world, is telling you their very first word, their culture is creative, problem. Bit of a red flag. But I was like, let's just keep going. Maybe that's just a thing to attract new young people. Maybe that's just like a keyword. Maybe creative means something else. Maybe it doesn't mean what I think it means. Know what I'm saying? Our culture is creative, hardworking. That means get everyone in, but you got to work hard. Fast-paced and flexible. Flexible. Wow. As someone who worked with companies and did training with companies, as someone who works with HR people, oh dear God. I knew what all of those things meant, and those of you who are in HR, you know what those things mean too. And let me tell you, as someone who's looking for a job, none of those things scream to me the #1 news agency in the world at all. We are the television #1 news agency in the world. The #1. We have history of integrity, of telling the news, telling it right, telling it straight, getting the story straight. You've seen Spotlight. We will tell your story. We will tell it right. We will tell it straight. We will not compromise. Flexible. Creative. And I was like, ooh, we got a problem. We got a problem. And I had no idea what problem we had. So then I took on my first job, which, by the way, their job listings are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Because when you become an ad agency, boy, the opportunities are endless. And you know how British Broadcasting Agency works? It actually says this here. It says, we produce more television than any other broadcaster. We produce more television. The BBC is dead. Maybe pay homage. I'll just skip ahead to the good parts. Now I know this may look boring to you because I printed it out in black and white, but let me show you what it actually looks like so you know just how deader than dead the BBC is. Because the BBC, it's dead. Deader than a dang doornail. Watch. When you think BBC, what do you think? What are the colors that you think? You think red, right? You think red and white and strong and red, big globe, and you've noticed, it doesn't seem so strong anymore, does it? Doesn't seem so strong anymore. Why don't we check out why that is? Because when I was looking at the job listings, I was going down there really look at our values. They kept saying, please read our values before you apply. Please read our values before I apply. So I was like, I'll read your values before I apply. Thank God Almighty, I read their values before I applied, because then I didn't apply. Boy, I really, 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 really dodged a bullet. Let's see why, shall we? Oh. See this? This is their value sheet. Now, if you can't tell in the camera, it starts out nice and red. Oh, that's great. It starts out red, makes you think everything's great until you scroll down. You scroll down, you scroll down, you scroll down, you scroll down, and then bam, look at that. Hey, their mission and values are in a nice, like, Easter egg blue. It gets better. Easter egg blue. Our mission. Hey, the ink isn't even in black. Can you see that? They don't even have black ink. It's in green, like a teal green ink. And then as they continue down with their teal green ink, do you see this? Our values? They actually highlight it in Easter colors. Can you see that? The BBC is dead. They put their values in Easter colors. The British Broadcasting Agency put their values in Easter egg colors. I don't even know what to say. What does that tell you about their values? They're so strong that we made them the strength of an Easter egg shell? An eggshell? That's how strong you made them? We made them as strong as an eggshell. Like, seriously, they made their values the color of like pink and teal. That's what they highlighted to them. And don't even get me started on what their values are. You want to hear what their values are? OMG, like, let me get this on. Like, you want to talk like communism and socialism? Like, boy, the fifth column got in on this one big time. We have 6 values or standards. Can't even get that one nailed down. Can't even get that one nailed down. Okay, let me tell you how these things are made. Let me put this into you. This is Agenda 21 at work. Full on Agenda 21 work. You know how I know that? Because I actually did this. I actually participated in one of these. This is how they do it. The way things used to be written when standards used to be done is that there was someone in leadership. You pick someone in leadership, someone that was in leadership. They were chosen, one person who was skilled and talented at leadership. And that person who was good at writing and who was good at leadership, they picked the core values, and there was a board, and they were like, you know what? You're really good at knowing how to speak and communicate and what our goals are. And they would write up the leadership goals. They'd write them out. They'd bring them to the board, and the board would be like, yeah, that sounds exactly right. You think that we need anything to change? And they'd be like, no, we trust you. That sounds just exactly right. Tweak this word or tweak that word. And that's it. And they leave it to the talented writer. They leave it to that talent person. But no. Right when Agenda 21 hit this right time, it's right around this very specific time, right when they threw everyone out of the colleges, they started doing this group thing. This very socialist started doing, and this is exactly what happens. This is exactly what happens. And what happens is they bring a bunch of people together in a room and they do a group thing. And what they do is they have every single department, and all of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, because probably it's so socialist and it's so pervasive that probably all of you have had to participate in this at some point. You've been volunteered to do this in your workplace, which means it has reached you, which means you already have experienced some form of communist China. Congratulations, Agenda 21 has reached into your life. So at least you know a little bit of what's coming. So this is what happens. They go ahead and they say, we need a volunteer from each department. And a volunteer, they just volunteer you. They don't pick you based on your skill. They just take the person who they can least use. Like who they, if they are gone a day a week, they won't miss them. That's how they're volunteered up. Seriously. They give them up. They say, hey, like, that's how I was put up. I was put up because I was an actual contractor. I was a contractor for this company. I was a contractor. So I was technically, they could say that I was an employee with this department, but I didn't actually work for them. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So like they could like volunteer me up as one of their department, but I didn't actually work there as a contractor or whatever. And they knew that I loved this one thing. So they were like, go ahead and do it. And you can like actually form policy. So go ahead and do it. And I was like, yeah, this sounds great. I would love to, form policy. This sounds amazing. So let's go ahead and do it. So I went ahead and did this. And they had all these different people in a room. And it was like they had 12 people surrounding writing policy to guide an entire college. And every sentence, everyone was like, well, I don't know if that might hurt somebody's feelings. Well, that might hurt somebody's feelings. Well, that might hurt somebody's feelings. Well, I don't know, that might hurt. And you know what happened? When that happened, I was just reading this, and every single standard that they made, each standard said about 12 different things that conflicted with one another. And you know what? This is exactly, and I was like, the poor people, it ended up being 0 standards, which is the whole point, So everyone was happy. Everyone had a sentence of their own in there because it just was like, and I was the one just sitting there. I ended up just not saying anything, just sitting back and watching the process. Because I was sitting there trying to be like, well, the people need this. Like, the people need this. Like, I was the only one, but everybody else was worried about what their own needs were. No one was looking at the actual people. They were all worried about anyway. So what you end up getting is something like this, where you have literally the first sentence is, we have 6 values, which someone wanted to say values. And then it says, or standards. So they couldn't even agree on values or standards. So they couldn't agree which one. One group wanted values and one wanted standards. So they're like, well, we'll just say both. We have 6 values or standards. Because standards is something that, we hold as a company. But values is something that like a church has. And you can tell like where the old school people were, which is like, we're not a church. We're not a community. We shouldn't be saying we have values. Like, we're not a society. We shouldn't have values that a society should live by. So we really should just be saying standards, like workplace standards. And one group was like, no, we really want values because we like socialism and it should be socialism. And the other group was like, we really want standards because it's just a workplace standard. So they ended up putting in both. First line out the gate, which people across the BBC share. See, it's just a statement. They share it. Not we strive to live up to it or that we want. No, we all share it. Oh gosh, it's so awful. Is so Big Brother. They represent the expectations we have. Get this. They represent the expectations we have for ourselves and each other. Like, talk about like the expectations we have for ourselves and each other, which means we expect to hold each other to these things. Like, that's Big Brother. Full on. Like, that is full on like you report each other. And you'll find out that as we go along. They guide our day-to-day decisions and the way we behave. These values and or standards guide our day-to-day decisions and the way we behave. Now, this is why I say the BBC is dead. It doesn't say anything about their product. 0 about their product. It doesn't say anything about what the BBC produces. The BBC is dead. It's dead. It's gone. It's gone. They are interested in self-regulating each other and pointing each other out and reporting each other and being a socialist community that judges one another. They are not paying attention to the product. You know who is paying attention to the product? The people who are paying for the product. The news is no longer news. The news is now ads. It is a creative agency. 100% a creative agency, no different than Mad Men, no different than Fifth Avenue, no different than Madison Avenue. That is what the BBC is. The BBC broadcasting agency that does news is dead. Dead and gone. It's gone. There is no news agency there anymore. It is a socialist society that regulates one another. Big Brother, full all the way. Trust is the foundation. That's the first one in light baby blue egg. Foundation of the BBC. We are independent, impartial, and honest. So they're like, we are all honest and true. Like this, like full on argument. We are all honest. Like, it's literally, it sounds like a church. Like, we are all honest. Like, they are saying that is our value, that we are all honest. And that they will guide their day-to-day decisions, and they will say this to one another, right? We're truthful and fair in all our dealings. That's not their product. They're saying when they go throughout the day, this is what they will be. Have you ever heard of a workplace saying when you come to work, you will be truthful and you will be fair in all of your dealings throughout the day? Like, only churches do that. And they don't demand it. They suggest it. We make decisions based on our values. stick by them and take responsibility for them. We behave with integrity and do what we say we're going to do. That's like the old school people being like, put it in there. We're going to do what we say we're going to do. Like you say you're going to do something, we're going to do what we say we're going to do. Still nothing about the product. Still nothing about the product. But the old school people were like, we need something in there to hold these new young kids into following through on what they say they're going to do. We need people who are going to be truthful. And I could just see this. Like, I know the people that are behind this. I worked in too many people in Silicon Valley. I know exactly what this is saying. They're like, we need to actually have something in our values saying we need people who will actually follow through with it. So that if we want to fire them, we can, because we can be like, you didn't follow through on what you said you were going to do. Second, audiences at the heart of everything we do. Now, this is the one that really got me. And then I think I should let you go, but no, and I'll do a third one. Okay, this is the thing. Oh my God, no. Okay, here we go. Audiences at the heart of it. This is number 2. Audiences are at the heart of everything they do. They even put audiences in a light baby pink and said they're at the heart of everything we do. Like, that's creative, you guys. When they put audiences in pink, and like, I do advertising, you guys. Like, that's what I do. That's my day job, is advertising. You don't make, audiences in pink and then say it's at the heart of what we do. Come on, that's sales. That's not news. We put audiences' needs first. And that's when I knew it was dead, when I heard them say that. Like, that was it for me. Like, I knew John Sweeney wouldn't have a job there much longer. I knew it was all over when I read that line. We put audiences' needs first. Would you like to know why that is? When you put an audience's needs first? You can't argue that an audience needs to know the truth about anything. They're going to say an audience needs to know about the newest cell phone. An audience needs to know about the newest place in Cancun. If you say we put the audience's needs first, that is exactly what a creative agency does. That is that is a motto of a creative agency. That is the motto of an ad agency. The audience comes first. It's not we put the truth first. In a broadcasting agency, the truth comes first. Always. The truth comes first. Always. We will not ever change the truth, no matter how hard it hurts. We have integrity. We will not change the truth. But no, to them, their audience's needs were, well, what if the audience needs to be comforted right now? What if after 9/11, let me give you a real good example. 9/11. Did they put the audience's needs first when they didn't say that 7 buildings fell? And they only said 3 fell? Do you read me? The BBC did not say that any other tower fell other than Tower 1, 2, and 7. What about 3, 4, 5, and 6? You could easily argue that America just couldn't handle it. They put their audience's needs first. Do you read me? No newspaper company on the planet says we put our audience's needs first. Ever. That's when the truth dies. We take pride in delivering quality and value. For what? For the money. They actually put that in their standards. The exchange of money for quality. Ad agency. Ad agency. They are a creative agency now. And finally, creativity is the lifeblood of our organization. Ironic that it's the color green. We're brave, we innovate, and demonstrate creative ambition, trying new things and embracing new technology. We seek out different perspectives, others' ideas and opinions. We seek opportunities to train ourselves, develop our careers, and try new roles. Do you understand the news world today? That is an application to the giant companies of the world. They are no longer the British Broadcasting News Agency. They are the British Broadcasting Creative Agency. Creative Agency. That's why the Panorama team was laid off. That's why all the broadcasters were laid off. That's why it's all new young kids on there today. And that's why the BBC is dead. And that's why I'm paying tribute to the brave men and women across the world who gave their lives, who lived and died in honor of the truth for what once was the greatest news agency in the world. I loved you and I breathed you and you got me through the worst pain imaginable. And I hit a 10 on the pain scale and passed out in pain 4 times a week, at least. And your news saved me. British Broadcasting Agency that once was. May your journalism be remembered for all of history. May your reporters' names never be forgotten. Know that we know. Know that we see you. Know that we remember you. Oh, dear BBC, you were so great. You were so tremendous and wondrous. And oh my God, I truly miss you. So BBC, this is for you. For the BBC is now dead. As is the news.